Hey everyone, welcome to Keto and Crime. Today I've got a quick update on the Lori Vallow Daybell case. Just a very quick one, will take about 45 seconds. And then I have my theory on what happened in the case of all three murders she has now been convicted of in the state of Idaho. So if you've ever wanted to know my in-depth opinion on what happened, I'm now ready to give that after all the evidence has come in. So with that being said, thank you. If you're new to the channel, I do true crime, dark history, movie reviews when they relate to crime or horror of that nature, and I also do a little bit of commentary. If you're returning, thank you so much. If you'd like to support the channel, those links are down below. My name is 𝗟𝗏𝗄𝗏. I decorate my tree for every holiday of the year. We are in the patriotic season, so there it is. And with that, I will jump in. I do want to tell you that on Friday, I will be dropping my longer video of the week. It is a review of the independent film American Insurrection, which is a cinematic masterpiece, cough cough. I will be discussing it with a couple of good buddies, so I hope you'll watch that as well. But with that being said, let's dive in. First, the update. Basically very short and sweet. Maricopa County in Arizona has petitioned Governor Katie Hobbs to extradite Lori from Idaho to stand for the conspiracy to commit murder and murder charges of her ex-husband, Charles Vallow. Katie Hobbs is expected to sign that, and then it will be sent back to Idaho, where they will ponder it for a few months, but everybody's anticipating she will be then extradited and will continue serving her prison sentence in an Arizona correctional facility as opposed to an Idaho until that trial. So still a lot of trials to go through for Lori Vallow. And with that being said, let's dive into my theories. First, we have to go back to when she was still married to Charles Vallow. They had just left Hawaii and returned to Arizona. They were living in a very nice suburb of Phoenix and were doing quite well. Charles was a salesperson. He made from all estimates, over $300,000 a year. They were very happy with Tylee and, of course, the adoption of JJ. It was about this time that Lori's, I think, what could be diagnosed as mental illness, I can safely say that now, started to manifest. Extreme mania when it comes to bipolar disorder. And please, I'm not Dr. Grande. I'm not a licensed psychologist. I'm just, everything that I've studied on this case and studied in addition to this case is why I'm saying this. This is my opinion. This is, everybody has an opinion and they're all worth about the same. So there you go. Bipolar disorder, the mania that goes with bipolar disorder can often manifest with delusions of religious grandeur. So I believe she was going through that, combined with the fact that I obviously think she's a narcissist. She saw herself as some exalted figure using the teachings of the Mormon Church, and then she got hooked into Daybell's version of the Mormon Church, and all of this just started to spiral in a grandiose fashion. I think Charles was not having it, but because of their very, very close relationship, she was able to pull 𝗟𝗟𝗀𝗃 into it. And I think the murder of Charles Vallow was very much orchestrated by Lori and Chad, because now Chad enters the picture. And she now sees herself as this even more exalted figure, with her and Chad being king and queen of the new universe, that they could take out people that they felt were not going to progress towards the return of Jesus Christ. And also a good old-fashioned greed. She wanted Charles's life insurance and his Social Security benefits for the kids and herself, and she wanted to be able to live and eventually move forward with Chad. So I think by sucking 𝗟𝗟𝗃𝗃 into it, he was able to play the part of avenging angel, and we know what happened with Charles. Now, I think there was honestly a lot of strife in the with the marriage. He had already moved out. He was living in Houston. They were living in the old house, or in Arizona still. And I think Tylee there was already a wedge forming between Charles and Tylee. And I think he probably did get aggressive that day he was at the house. And I think Tylee did what Tylee would do, because Tylee was a little spitfire. I think she did try to defend herself and her mother, what she thought was a perceived threat. And it just kind of escalated from there. So it was the perfect opportunity for Alex to do what he did. And the fact that Lori conveniently got Tylee and JJ out of there just opened that up wide. So I think Tylee was coming from a place of honesty. Everybody else, not so much. And so now we fast forward to her basically finding out that Charles had changed the life insurance policy to the Woodcocks. She was very, very angry about that. And now, instead of seeing these children as ways she can get more money, she now sees them as a drain on her finances and a drain on her proposed mission to help Chad Daybell usher in the second coming of Christ. So it was at that point she decided to move the family away from everybody that knew them and loved them to Idaho, along with Alex and her niece, to basically put them in excursion. It was there that she isolated them from everybody. She took JJ out of school. She got rid of his service dog. She attempted to sell the service animal, but then the organization that had trained it caught wind of this and took the animal back. The animal was very lucky she didn't just kill him. And so she's now isolated JJ from everyone and Tylee from everyone. Tylee feels a huge amount of responsibility to help her mother, because I think Tylee was wise enough to know that her mother was going through some stuff and she was trying to help. And I think Tylee was probably also very scared, because you heard her on many of those recordings saying, "No, Mom, not me," when Lori would refer to her as dark. So I think both Chad and Lori and their delusion, Chad a little more worldly, because he wanted the children gone. He saw them as an obstacle, so he just wanted them gone. I think he did feed into that, but it was easy to feed because she also wanted them gone. She saw them as a thing, and then put in her mental illness where she probably in some sick way did think that she was sending them to a better place. It all just kind of played out. And then you had Alex, ever the simp for Lori, going along with this. So they're pretty much isolated. They go on that last trip to Yellowstone, and it's after that that Tylee disappears. I think that probably what happened, based on the cell phone records, Tylee was killed either in Alex's apartment or in her own room at Lori's apartment. I think from the autopsy there was a non-cutting knife wound in the torso. I think she was probably asphyxiated, and then she was probably stabbed. And then from there she was, cut up and disposed of. I'm not going to go and say so. And I think the perpetrator was 𝗟𝗏𝗄𝗃 and probably Chad Daybell, to be quite honest, but definitely Alex. A lot of people have talked about assault. I can't comment on that because there's no way of knowing. I don't think Alex would have done that. Wouldn't put it past Chad, but then I don't know. So I think that's what happened to her. And then a few days later, after Melanie Warwick saw, Melanie Gibb and Warwick saw JJ, I think that either he was already dead when he was brought in, or later that day, I think he was asphyxiated and strangled to death by 𝗟𝗏𝗃 and then disposed of. And I think that's what happened. Now, what happened to 𝗟𝗏𝗃? He had been complaining of some issues with his chest and breathing. So there's no way we'll ever know, because he's already been cremated, whether or not he was poisoned. I wouldn't put it past the Daybells working through 𝗬𝗏 might have poisoned him and helped cause some of those blood clots, but I have to say he probably died of natural causes. It was just a lucky play out. However, it wouldn't surprise me if it comes out later that they did kill him, because I think that was on the agenda. It wasn't just we're going to use him forever. That was on the agenda. Anybody that knew too much about what they were doing was on the agenda for murder. And Alex, if he didn't go ahead and die of natural causes, I think he would have been murdered soon after. They were already going after Melanie Pawlowski's ex-husband. They were already going after basically anyone else that didn't agree with them. I believe Warwick and Melanie Gibb might have been on the hit list had this been allowed to continue. Anybody, because they saw them as a rival faction. They saw David Warwick setting himself up as some other monarch in this deluded world they've built for themselves. So I think they probably would have been killed at some point too. Now, what happened to Tammy Daybell? I believe that the shot on her, just like with Miss Pawlowski's ex-husband, was an attempted assassination. I don't think it was a paintball gun. I think it was like we know, it's an actual rifle that just jammed, and there was some issues and he couldn't finish the shot. That was her official assassination attempt. When that failed, I think they just said, screw it. We'll deal with this another way. And on the evening that she died, I think she was probably drugged. I hope she was drugged. And at that point, Alex came in, Chad held her down, and she was strangled. And that is my theory on what happened. Let me know your theory down below. If you think I'm way off course, if I'm right on, if I'm missing some things, let me know. I'd like to know your theories. Now that at least part of the case is settled, I feel absolutely vindicated in giving my opinion. So that's the way I see it. And let me know what you think. And until next time, keep on crying.